The early days of the pandemic were a real gut punch, weren't they? Especially for restaurants, these vibrant places suddenly just shut. But what happened in China's restaurant scene wasn't quite a collapse. It was more like, well, a super high-speed reinvention.
It really was. I mean, the initial shock was massive. Absolute.
Huge. They took a 43% revenue hit in just the first 2 months of 2020. That's what, 6.3 trillion yen? Just gone. An economic earthquake, basically.
An absolutely seismic shock. It forced everyone to immediately rethink how they could possibly operate. The pressure must have been unbelievable.
Exactly. But here's where it gets really interesting. Some didn't just, try to survive. A big chunk of the industry fundamentally shifted gears, pivoting hard towards and that's food delivery.
Yeah,
And get this, while most were struggling, about 5% of restaurants actually saw their sales increase during that chaos.
That's the fascinating part.
How did they manage that? It really makes you think.
That small group, that 5%, it really shows how businesses can sometimes find, well, opportunities even inside a crisis. It points to a kind of agility and innovation that's really worth looking at.
And the context here is important too. Unlike some other places, China didn't roll out massive direct bailouts for restaurants.
Well, not really.
There was some support later, yeah, but mostly it was up to the businesses themselves to figure things out. Things like those electronic vouchers came later to boost spending.
Or consumer-focused stuff.
Yeah.
And that lack of a big safety net probably pushed them even faster towards finding their own way to customers. Delivery became absolutely critical, a lifeline.
Which brings us right to the heart of this deep dive, the explosion of food delivery. Platforms like Meituan, and LM, they weren't new, obviously.
But they were already big.
But the pandemic just put them into hyperdrive.
Right.
It basically shoved the whole restaurant industry into this online merge offline model almost overnight.
Yeah, forced adoption at an incredible speed.
So we're going to explore how that all unfolded and look at some really compelling stories, restaurants that didn't just hang on, but actually kind of mastered this new delivery game.
And it's not just about surviving the crisis, is it? It's about how these shifts might have permanently reshaped the whole restaurant landscape.
Definitely something to consider.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's dig into the Skorda phenomenon.
Okay.
You could get takeout before, sure, but the pandemic just completely flipped the switch.
Completely.
Think about it. Before all this, maybe 15% of restaurants said delivery was their main thing. During the crisis, that jumped to 78%.
78. That's an incredible statistic. It just shows the sheer scale of the operational pivot that happened, almost instantly.
What drove that massive change? I mean, besides the obvious closures.
Just necessity, right.
Yeah.
Dining rooms are closed, people are stuck at home. Delivery was suddenly the only way for many to make any money at all.
Okay, and I want to touch on this common idea that it was all down to super cheap labor fueling the delivery boom.
Right, that perception exists.
But the picture in China seems more complex. It's more of a gig economy thing, isn't it? A lot of riders are part-time.
Exactly. You have restaurant staff doing deliveries in off hours, freelancers. The average income was around 60,000 yen a month, which isn't trivial. It's not just about rock-bottom wages.
So the flexibility was key.
Absolutely. That flexibility let the delivery workforce scale up incredibly fast without the huge fixed costs of hiring loads of full-time drivers. And for the riders themselves, it was often a pretty stable income source when other things were uncertain.
And these delivery jobs actually became a path for the Ayum, the Gunkanyan, this new generation moving from rural areas to cities.
Yes, that's a really interesting social dimension. It offered a way into city life, a stable income, maybe differently than traditional migrant work did. These platforms became part of that whole urbanization story.
Wow. So, okay, the platforms themselves in Meituan, LMA, they operate on commission, right? Taking a cut from the restaurants?
Typically around 20%, yeah.
And initially, smaller places especially weren't too happy about that fee. Felt like it was eating into already thin margins.
Understandably so. 20% feels like a lot when you're struggling. But, what's the alternative? Building your own delivery fleet? That's incredibly expensive and complicated.
Right, hiring drivers, insurance, managing logistics. Yeah.
So the platforms basically offered this ready-made infrastructure. They gave restaurants immediate scale and reach that would be almost impossible to build themselves, especially quickly.
Okay, so how do they make the numbers work? Offering relatively cheap delivery to us, paying the riders, and running the tech. What's the magic behind their logistics?
Technology. Sophisticated technology. It's like this huge, constantly adapting puzzle. Their algorithms aren't just finding the closest rider.
No.
No, they're figuring out Who's about to finish a delivery nearby? Who can take multiple orders heading in the same direction, factoring in real-time traffic, optimizing routes in ways a human just couldn't.
Ah, so one writer might grab orders from a couple different places.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Multiple pickups, multiple drop-offs, all clustered efficiently. It's all about that logistical density.
Like a highly optimized, tech-driven delivery dance happening constantly.
Pretty much. And they didn't stop at food, did they?
No, right. They became these home instant delivery companies, handling pharmacy runs, groceries, you name it.
And that expansion actually helps their efficiency. More types of goods mean more pickups, more drop-offs, denser routes. It keeps the network busy and cost-effective.
And all this convenience seems to be nudging people towards eating at home more. Nesh ishi. That statistic about dining out dropping from over 10% of personal spending to around 8%, that feels significant.
It really does. It suggests a potentially lasting shift in habits. The ease of delivery, maybe combined with, people just reconnecting with home life during lockdowns, could mean more meals stay in-house long-term.
So restaurants were facing this huge shift. What were some of the really smart, innovative things they did to cope or even, succeed?
We saw some really creative adaptations. One big trend was offering bandiaden, these semi-prepared meal kits.
Ah, right.
Right.
Like partially cooked stuff.
Exactly. Delivered, and then you just do the final steps at home. It sort of bridges the gap, doesn't it? Convenience of takeout, but you still feel like you cooked a bit.
That's clever. Hits both needs. What else?
Another really interesting thing was the sharing employees idea. There was this chain, Yung Yale. They partnered with a grocery platform, Heng Jianxing, that's Hema.
Gima, yeah.
They basically lent their idle restaurant staff to Hema, who were swamped with grocery orders. So employees got paid, Hema got help, and the restaurant reduced its burden.
Wow, that's fantastic collaboration, like across industries.
Yeah, apparently over 1,200 staff from 21 different restaurant chains did something similar just with Hema. A real win-win born from crisis.
Amazing. And then there were those the electronic vouchers. Did they actually help move the needle for restaurants?
Oh, definitely. They were crucial for kickstarting spending again after the initial wave subsided. About 17 provinces and cities handed out something like 5 billion yuan worth, specifically aimed at getting people to spend in sectors like food and beverage.
So a direct shot in the arm for demand.
Exactly. An incentive to start dining again, whether it was eating out or ordering in.
It's such a contrast, though, isn't it? You have this amazing innovation, collaboration, government help, but then you also hear predictions of 1.6 million restaurant closures in 2020.
Yeah, the hardship was immense, absolutely. While some adapted incredibly well, the scale of the disruption was just too much for many, especially smaller spots without deep pockets or, that digital know-how already in place.
And meanwhile, the delivery market itself was booming, projected 36% growth that year.
Right, so you had this strange split, massive contraction in traditional dining, explosive growth in delivery. The whole market was transforming at warp speed.
Okay, let's talk about some of those winners, the ones who really navigated this well. First, Nanxinxiang, a fast food chain. What was their secret?
Nanjingshang had a big advantage. They were already doing delivery seriously before the pandemic. They'd partnered with Meituan. They were set up for
So
it.
they had the infrastructure.
Yes, and they were super quick to get those Angsen the safe restaurant certifications. They really pushed the hygiene and safety message.
Ah, building trust. Crucial at that time.
Absolutely crucial, and it worked. Their delivery sales didn't just recover, they actually shot past pre-pandemic levels. They were doing 6,000 to 8,000 orders a day via delivery.
Wow. Okay, preparedness paid off. What about Aripoji, a big, well-known chain? How did they fare?
Their main dine-in business, like many others, took a big hit. Expansion plans stalled. But they had this sub-brand, Engkoyiji, focused specifically on duck dishes for delivery.
Ah, a delivery-only brand. Or delivery-focused.
Delivery-focused, yeah. And that brand actually did really well. Its unique menu stood out in the crowded delivery market, and its sales went up, even while the main Chi brand was struggling.
Interesting. So diversifying with a delivery-specific offering was key for them.
It really highlights that, doesn't it? Segmenting the market, offering something tailored for delivery.
Okay, then there's Zingong, hot pot. How on earth do you deliver hot pot effectively?
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the puzzle, right? Their solution was product innovation. They created these semi-prepared hot pot kits. Everything you need, base, ingredients, instructions.
Okay, the kit idea again. But what else?
The marketing was brilliant. They went big on live e-commerce, Zibu Jianshang, using platforms like Taobao.
Live streaming?
Yeah, their staff would do live broadcasts showing people exactly how easy it was to make the hot pot at home with their kit. It was interactive, kind of fun.
Made it less intimidating, maybe, and more of an event.
Exactly. And it was hugely successful. They sold something like over 10,000 kits in just one live session.
10,000. That's incredible.
And it basically showed the way for loads of other hot pot places. Suddenly, everyone was trying to figure out their own at-home hot pot kit.
Fascinating. Lastly, Jianyues. This is that super popular tea place, right? Famous for being Hufa, internet famous.
That's the one. Known for huge queues. Very much an in-person experience brand.
And they initially resisted delivery. Why?
Yeah, their whole brand was built on that exclusivity, the hype of the queue. Delivery felt like it might dilute that, make it seem less special, less in demand.
But the pandemic forced their hand.
Had to. With stores closed or restricted, they had little choice. They started dipping their toes into delivery, maybe cautiously at first.
Oh.
And it worked, surprisingly well, it seems. It showed their brand was strong enough to translate even without the queue. People still wanted the product. They've since expanded delivery options quite a bit.
Wow. So even a brand built on scarcity found success through mass accessibility when forced to.
It really speaks to the power of a strong brand, and maybe also how adaptable customers are when they really want something.
Okay, so looking forward now. After this massive forced acceleration into delivery, what does the future look like for restaurants in China?
Well, they're basically facing a strategic crossroads, aren't they? Do you double down on dine-in, go all in on delivery, or try to perfect some kind of hybrid model? The pandemic definitely proved delivery isn't just an add-on anymore.
It has to be core for many now.
For many, yes. And you see different attitudes depending on the size of the restaurant.
How so?
Mid-sized places seem generally positive, likely to keep investing heavily in delivery tech and operations. Smaller restaurants, it's more mixed. They see the need, but the commissions, the operational hassle, it hits them harder.
Right. Thinner margins, less staff, maybe. And the big chains. You mentioned they had some reservations about relying only on the big platforms.
Yeah, the big chains are wary. A major concern is losing that direct connection with the customer.
Ah, the relationship aspect.
Exactly. When orders come through a platform, the restaurant doesn't own that customer relationship in the same way. They miss out on direct feedback, loyalty building, and maybe upselling other services like catering or events.
So it's not just about the delivery fee. It's about controlling the customer journey and data.
Precisely. And that's why you're starting to see some larger chains exploring building their own delivery systems, or at least more integrated solutions, to try and regain that direct link.
Interesting. And the delivery offerings themselves are getting more creative, too, beyond just hot meals.
Oh, definitely. You're seeing semi-prepared ingredients, kits linked to online cooking classes, meals bundled with disposable cutlery, even subscription boxes for regular meals. They're innovating constantly.
Trying to meet different kinds of at-home needs.
Right. It's moving beyond just, I want dinner now.
It really makes you wonder, why eating out become less normal? Could delivery become the default way we eat restaurant food?
It's a profound question.
And could physical restaurants then become more like special occasion destinations? Focused purely on the experience.
That's a very possible future. You could imagine a landscape with, say, small local spots as community hubs, lots of mid-sized places shifting to delivery-only ghost kitchens, and the big chains using their physical spaces for unique experiences while running sophisticated delivery operations alongside.
So closures might still happen, obviously, but the bigger story is this fundamental transformation, this ongoing experiment.
Exactly. The closures are just one part of a much bigger shift. The industry is adapting, restructuring, driven largely by this delivery revolution.
So to wrap this deep dive up, the key takeaway seems to be that the pandemic acted like a massive catalyst. It forced an incredibly rapid shift towards food delivery in China.
An unprecedented acceleration, yeah. It pushed restaurants to innovate and adapt in ways that were truly surprising, showing remarkable resilience.
The whole focus shifted almost overnight, from dine-in to delivery.
And it really revealed the ingenuity within the industry, even under immense pressure.
And it definitely leaves us with something to think about.
Yeah.
Looking at China's experience, what are the long-term ripples going to be elsewhere? How do restaurants everywhere need to rethink their models, their customer connections, in a world leaning so heavily on delivery?
It's that fundamental tension, isn't it? Between the sheer convenience of delivery and, well, the unique value of the traditional dining experience,
Yeah.
finding that balance is the next big challenge.